Hello, I'm Mark Baer. I'm with Jake Padorr. This is Hey, we're making an art movie. These are little segments of work in progress. And we begin. Yo-li-po. Why should I climb the lookout? Why should I dance this dance of art? Is it worthy what I seek? Is it all illusion? No one cares if I write another word. No one cares if I paint another picture. The sound of one hand clapping, my audience. Should I care, or is art like a prayer? A prayer that matters all, a prayer that matters not. What is the value of nothing? Only this I know. Art has saved my life. Art has been the joy of my life. Art has been the luxury of my life. All the rest, what will be, will be. And so, deem it holy, seek the beautiful, wallow in the intoxication, always approach humbly. 5 dancers in a circle, 5 circles in a dance, and all is spinning, and Marlowe is young again. And there are his lovers and friends spinning like neutrinos, positive to negative, to no charge at all. Spinning, spinning, and it's May. The chosen one dances in his garden to the ancestral trumpet. Satyrs and nymphs cavort on the lawn, and there are his spring flowers, and all is spinning. Thank you for everything. I have no complaints whatsoever. Shanti, shanti, shanti. And he is spinning, 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 and all is illuminated. In the future that rhymes with the past is a place much like now. Love Token Alley, follow the sign, the Rockefeller dime. Once in Paris, and now in the République de Banga Banga. Imagine a futuristic sci-fi movie shot in 1938, and you've got the idea. Modern times. Open at Smarty's party in Love Token Alley. I could never do the conga, could never get through the conga, but if you say do the conga, I ain't hep to that step, but I'll dig it. I ain't hep to that step, but I'll dig it. Yes. When we last encountered Bonga Corp, they'd been indicted. They'd made a killing in recreational opiates until the roof fell in and the enterprise had to change its name. A few substitutes were trotted out and quickly trotted away, ipso facto, too snobby. One floated for a while, Human Waste LLC. But in the end, Bonga Corp became not Bonga Corp. Not Bonga Corp conjures so many things, in particular that the company had turned a corner, seen the light, everything different now, trust us, ha ha ha. Not seemed a deft move. They had all that stationery, why kill a tree? If they got a stamp and an ink pad, they could save a bundle, no pricey new logo, legal liked it. Not only was not adequate, not was just enough to not admit guilt, but not wipe off the guilty smirk. The ambitious penny-pinching VP loved the idea, didn't realize it was a joke, and so a rubber stamp with the word not on it became an actuality. Not went on everything until the stamp was lost, and the company was Bonga Corp again. By this time, few noticed. All the inflicted pain and suffering and outright fraud was mostly forgiven when cooler heads prevailed in the courts, where the vested interests now made the laws, and the laws made sure justice didn't trickle down to the little guy. Not when the economy was booming. Profits were up, and everyone who wanted a job had 3. There was a new surge of patriotism among the ruling elite, but things were fraying at the edges. Some demanded better oversight, and sure, when they voted to slash the safety net, they thought they voted to slash the other guy. And when the net was cut, many crashed with a thump. They didn't blame themselves. It was the other guy. People got what they thought they wanted, and now they were experiencing cognitive dissonance, prompted by the uncomfortable awareness they'd been duped. Did others feel duped? A look left, right. No one seemed troubled. Okay, keep it buttoned. Sure, you might want to throw a tantrum, but if you spoil the party, you spoil it for everyone. Those at the top wanted just maybe a little slice more. Oh no, not the cherry. I couldn't, slimming down. And who could begrudge the team at the top? Holding tight is not easy when the totem pole is slippery. If they couldn't grab it now, when the grabbing was good, when could they grab it? And did they not deserve it? Oh, the freedom. 3 cheers for the future so bright. If by bright you mean dim. Did they think about the little guy on the top floor? Not much. From the top floor, the little guy looks awfully small. For the little guy, the future looks grim. From the songbook of Bunny and Bester, Jackson Pollock at the beach. Jackson Pollock on a spree. Jackson Pollock in a tree. Welcome to heaven, Jackson Pollock. Lucky you signed Pollock on your sleeve. See Jackson Pollock's private plane. See his yacht by the shore. For the price of a Pollock, you too can sail blue sea and more. Blue Poles number 7 bingo. Those wiggles and squiggles speak Jackson's language. Oh, dig that lingo. Sure, his death was not the prettiest. Like a Pollock, kind of the messiest. But for an abstract expressionist, heaven is an open door. Heaven, doors open at 11. Yes, for the price of a Pollock, and it must be signed. Heaven is an open door. This way, please. Down these mean streets a man must go, who is not himself mean, who is neither tarnished nor afraid. He is the hero, he is everything. He must be a complete man and a common man, and yet an unusual man. He must be, to use a rather weathered phrase, a man of honor, by instinct, by inevitability, without thought of it, and certainly without saying it. He must be the best man in his world and a good enough man for any world. Philip Marlowe, by Raymond Chandler. Our Marlowe dreamed he was in a small town. There was a depression vibe, all very black and white and bleak. He had a wife. She was something of a shrew, although she was in a difficult spot and he was not making things better. He hoped she wasn't pregnant. He was to work in a gas station doing something menial, though even for that task he had no particular ability and could feel he was being looked at with a wary eye. He scanned the town and didn't see any other occupation that seemed to suit him. His feeling was one of helplessness and desperation. Where did he fit in? He sure knew what he didn't want to do, was very keen about that, but had no idea what he wanted to do or could do, and there wasn't any job available to him that he seemed the least bit qualified for. And while he should have felt lucky that her family was able to help him out, and lucky for food and shelter, when so many others were in a worse situation, and not felt special or superior or arrogant or deserving or better, his one thought was of escape. His wife would have to stay behind. There was no thought of taking her, no thought of her feelings whatsoever other than she was an extension of something he wanted to be far away from. This was a cowardly act, an unworthy act, an ungentlemanly act. But all he could think about was reaching the highway and sticking out his thumb. Where would he go? How would he live? No answers, only desperation. The dream was unremarkable. There was little action, no images. There was more the feeling of being helpless in a world where he didn't fit in and was meant for something different, and being able to leave others behind to follow that quest, no matter how selfish or foolhardy, and with remarkable little guilt or regret, was intensely, uncomfortably revealing. Showed who he was at the core: selfish, self-centered. And how many deluded dreamers like himself make their way to Love Token Alley. Step up, step up. 3 wishes, 10 cents. Lucky those with the lucky die. His mantra: any way into the mystery is a good way in. All roads are open. Trust in the miracle. Marlowe believed what was key was to have a voice, a vision, a moral center, and plain language to express complex thoughts. But what are you making, Marlowe? He asked himself. A puppet show? A metaphysical box that expands into a room? A psychedelic jigsaw puzzle? He answered, if anyone asks, I'll call it a movie. But he knew a movie wasn't always the answer. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And so begins every piece of art. Marlowe gave himself over to the power of transformation and was non-committal in the shape it would take. He knew what he was doing, but he didn't know what he did. And what might begin as a dance might become a play or a piece of wall art or a conversation. In Marlowe's process, the form was ever-changing. The language of one discipline transmuted into the language of another discipline. He liked the word synesthesia, liked the idea of crossing pathways. He liked to think of painting as a dance and see poetry as painting. And when he looked around, all was animism. And the bushes were frisky, and the palm gods in the palm fronds were looking down. And his rule was to not use any image that didn't see him first, so to speak. He would report only what appeared before his eyes. The painting experience first, the writing later. Next was some active meditation, a surrender of self-control, a spontaneous dance. He closed his eyes and said the word, begin. And he let what came out come out. It sounded like, He entered a vivid dream state, hoping to glimpse some ancient memory in the primordial DNA, some ancient past, some temple of antiquity with open ceiling and crumbling walls and red clay floor. and the sound of crashing waves where seagrass tangles with shoregrass, some ancient temple of love. They cared not what it was named, and named it not. Water, water, we thirst, crossing the Llano. The quicksilver of summer, the treeless plain, a lake, a pool, a sad mere, a waiting ibis, a firth bay, an estuary, a long-legged waterfowl, a heron, a magpie, a jackdaw. On the temple door, a trifling almost rubbed away. They knew not what it was named, and named it not. He opened his eyes and wrote, "Beware, life's a slippery slope." He wrote, "I wish to stand with the ancients and have the ancient experience." He wrote, "The wind blows, the trees are drunken, the water ripples, the water is drunken. I pour myself into you. We are all drunken. We wait for a small, beautiful moment in a beautiful but indifferent world." He closed his eyes again. The vision was gone. He sang, "I'll leave on the 12:02. Can't believe there's no more you. Seems I'm a stranger in my own hometown." Champagne for everyone. At Smarty's party, Art Smitten, artist of the future, said, "It's the little pop that makes all the difference. The bubbles, the fizz, late nights on the town. A stream of confetti rains down on high-kicking Goldwyn girls. Hear the beat of dancing feet. It's the song I love, the melody of 42nd Street. If you've got a little time to spare, I want to take you there. Little nifties from the 50s, innocent and sweet. Sexy ladies from the 80s who are indiscreet. Side by side, they are glorified, where the underworld meets the elite. 42nd Street, yeah." Marlowe liked contemplating depravity and glamour for its own sake. In the party in his head, Marlowe would drift through the world with style. It would be a comedy of errors, witty cracks, wicked talent, with Cole Porter-esque party scenes organized by Elsa Maxwell in Paris, or at the Waldorf Astoria in New York, where Cole opens the door for Gene Kelly, who charges in and dances on the couch, while Ella Fitzgerald follows in doing scat jazz. And of course, George Gershwin mans the piano when Louis Armstrong enters with Lady Day. Oh, yeah. After hours, these past legends transport on magic carpet and pixie dust to a future era as the party moves to Love Token Alley, a tougher part of town. Marlowe's part of town. Something foreboding about this haunt of the demi-monde. At the bat of an eye, it could be rough and tumble. It could all go south. The place was lousy with grafters and chiselers and mangy lone woofers and small-time plug-ugly hoods. You hear the noise in the alley. You hear the howling in the 5 a.m. blue. You hear it, but you do not look. As Mr. Boots, the enlightened cat, knows, for every broken heart, there is a shade of blue. And we all remember the iconic image of Mr. Boots painted in Yves Klein blue. On the wall of Love Token Alley these days, lost reward, Mr. Boots. He seems to have vanished. Mr. Boots met Buddha behind the house. Buddha was a mouse. Mr. Boots ate him. Wham! Mr. Boots lit up in the radiance that pervades the entire Dharma realm. Kill the Buddha? Asked Mr. Boots. 10 cents. Ask me how. Said Mr. Boots, to kill the Buddha, you must see the Buddha. And to see the Buddha, you must be the Buddha. And if you are the Buddha, you don't need the Buddha. Said Mr. Boots, you don't need to kill the Buddha to chill a Buddha light. Said Mr. Boots, wouldn't a chill Buddha light taste good now? Mr. Padorr, wouldn't a chill Buddha light taste good now?
Sounds delicious.
On we go. And we're out.